Today is 7th Sunday after Pentecost, and the Gospel is taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 24 to 30 and following 36 to 43. It's the parable of weeds among the wheat. We often live with the assumption that if we do good, work hard, and be nice, everything should work out as we want. That's the illusion with which the slaves in today's parable live. "Master," they ask the farmer, "did you not sow good seed in the field?" Of course he did. They know he did. That's why they are so surprised when they discover the weeds. The weeds have shattered their illusion. This isn't supposed to happen. Where then did these weeds come from? There's an urgency to their question. They want to know what happened and who is responsible. So do we. That's what we want to know when we discover weeds in our fields. We want an explanation and someone that we can blame, hold accountable, and even punish. Far too often we see that in our political bickering, our Facebook posts, and our privately held opinions. Jesus, however, seems less interested in this approach than we are. He doesn't give it much time and attention. An enemy has done this, he says. That's it. He doesn't explain it. He doesn't identify or name the enemy. He doesn't give instructions to find, drive out, and punish this enemy. It's one of the challenges of today's gospel, and I told you last week, the gospel always challenges the way we think, see, and live. It challenges to become more than who we think we are. It challenges that arises every time we face the weeds of our life and the world. The reality, according to Jesus, is that our lives and our world are fields in which good and evil, life and death, joys and sorrows, that which we want and that which we don't want grow and live side by side. The wheat and the weeds stand together in our world and in each of our lives. That, Jesus says, is what the kingdom of heaven is like. That's good news for us. It means that despite the weeds in and around us, the kingdom is still here. The weeds do not overcome or make absent God's kingdom. It may not be the fullness of the kingdom, but it is, nevertheless, the kingdom. But what about those weeds? What do we do about them? Surely we should do something, not according to Jesus. Let them grow together until the harvest, he says. That makes no sense. How can we let them be? The weeds are bad, and the wheat is good. We must do something. We need to take a stand, draw a line in the sand, establish some boundaries. Don't you want us to pull up the weeds? The slaves asked their farmer, their master. No, for in gathering the weeds, you would uproot the wheat along with them. These aren't just generic weeds. The parable speaks of a particular weed called didzana. It's sometimes known as darnel or false wheat. It grows with the wheat It looks like wheat. Its roots intervene with the roots of the real wheat. The difference between the two is not always really apparent. It seems the separation between the wheat and the weeds is not as clear-cut and black and white as Facebook, as the media, our politicians, and our personal opinions would often have us believe. In every event, we are not the ones to make that judgment. We are not the ones to uproot those we see as weeds. Jesus is clear about that. Let them grow together until the harvest, he says. Jesus shows more interest in growth than extermination. He is willing to wait and to be patient. If we are his followers, we too will wait and be patient amongst the weeds of our life. So, do we do nothing? Just sit and wait? No, that's not what Jesus is saying. There is a plenty to do, and it will be a challenge. The words that are translated as let them in Jesus' statement, let them grow, can also be translated as forgive them. It is the same words Jesus spoke from the cross in Luke's account of the gospel when he says, Father, forgive them. Luke chapter 23, verses 34. Even then, even on the cross, Jesus is unwilling to pull up the weeds. Jesus commands love. Love your enemy, love your neighbor, love yourself, love God. So, forgive the weeds, love the weeds. Remember, I told you, the gospel is always a challenge. So, yes, forgive them, love them. Maybe that's how the weed begins to free its roots from the weeds and show itself to be wheat and not weeds. Maybe love and forgiveness are what life in the mixed field of God's kingdom and this world is like. Amen.